having that is important. Uh, Otherwise, you're just creating chaos, in my opinion.
So let's talk about that a little bit more, because we can say that yes, some leaders are compassionate. Yes, there's empathy. We could say that, but does it always relate to something like that, or is it perceived as the person that may be receiving it on the other end? Is there really compassion and empathy there for a person?
Well, that's the thing.
Because
Not
yeah,
everybody is gonna understand what you're trying to do or the goal that you're trying to get to, and that's where communication plays a big factor, right? That's the first key point we talked about. And if you're able to make that clear and make that known, and you still get some backlash on that, that's where that compassion piece will play in. Does that make sense?
yeah, but again, like if I'm saying something and the other person doesn't agree, the other person may view like, oh, you don't care about me. Whereas in all reality, it's like, yeah, I do. I could be a lot more harsh, but
Right.
this is me being very compassionate, me being empathetic towards you, because what I was going to do could have been worse.
Mhm.
But it's kind of that side where I feel like it's like a double entendre,
But
because
you're
it's
not just,
it's
but
you
you're not gonna just dismiss what the person is saying, right? You're still going to listen and try to understand and see how it fits into the 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 planning of whatever it is that you're working towards. And like, let's use an example as like a leader of your family, for example, right? Your father,
yeah.
you have
Can we
kids,
use a
and like,
real life example?
right. So you have kids,
Let's use
and go ahead.
let's use a real life example, because I think we just experienced one and we talked about it. You and I, we literally talked about it. Don't name drop, but remember when we met on Monday? And
Yes,
exactly, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So
yes.
in that situation, I was clearly not being empathetic at all, right? There was no empathy at all. I'll tell you that right over it. It's just because it's the bare minimum that we're all asking for, and I feel as if in that situation, I understood where the person's coming from, but I would be a lot more understanding if it was a lot more of a demand at ask. But there wasn't, there isn't, and if it is too much, then let's talk about that, because what we do on that end is not a lot in comparison to what we could really be doing. So in that situation, how do you feel as if someone like myself could be empathetic in that situation?
Well, you don't, because you already have guidelines and principles that were set in stone, and every member of the team is aware, or of the project is aware of those guidelines. So that's part of communication. You have made it clear that if so and so happen, this happens, right? So now when you have that set up and somebody comes with something that contradict the quote unquote constitution of the group, at that point, all you have to do is just bring them back to the book, to that constitution, and
Yeah,
say, hey, I'm not the one, we all agree to this principle, right?
yeah,
And as a leader, I'm just here to reinforce the principle that we all looked at and agreed to go based off of. I'm not
yeah,
dismissing your opinion. I understand where you're coming from. I understand what you have going on in your life. We all go through difficult, challenging times. But if you agree to these principles, I'm just going to go based off of that. I'm not, it's not me not, caring or dismissing what you're saying. So that's why I say in that situation, it's not you so much, uh, not being, not having compassion, because the communication was already established. It plays a part if there was no communication established to begin with.
gotcha.
And that's why I like the fact that we started this with communication as being the keystone of a leadership.
Yeah.